Marcus Max Sullivan walked through the corridors of Johns Hopkins Medical School with the same silent precision he once used in covert operations in Afghanistan. The 45-year-old former Navy SEAL was here for a very different kind of mission, now working as a professional standardized patient for medical student training. He remembered how he started this job 2 years ago when searching for work after retirement. His old military buddy Tom Bradley had told him about this opportunity. Tom's wife, Dr. Sarah Bradley, a cardiologist working at Johns Hopkins, had suggested this job to Mac. Being called a standardized patient was perfect for Mac. 20 years of Navy SEAL experience had given him extraordinary acting abilities. In Afghanistan, he had disguised himself as a local, played the role of a wounded soldier in Iraq, and used diplomat identity in Pakistan, hiding pain, portraying different characters, and observing every detail was second nature to him. He remembered one of his first days. While portraying a heart attack case in Dr. Elizabeth Harper's class, a young student named Sarah Chen had approached him and asked, "You really look like you're in pain. How do you do it so well?" Mac had just smiled and said years of practice. Of course, he didn't tell Sarah that he remembered the real pain he felt when he took an actual bullet wound in Kandahar. This morning, he would demonstrate myocardial infarction symptoms to 4 different student groups in Dr. Harper's cardiology case analysis class. While Mac prepared in the hospital restroom, he looked in the mirror. His hair wasn't as thick as before, but his body was still in perfect shape. Every morning run, every evening 200 push-ups. A SEAL never gets caught unprepared. The first group was Dr. Martinez's students. 5 young medical students gathered around Mac, placing stethoscopes on his chest, checking his pulse. While Mac portrayed heart attack pain, he observed the students' excitement and anxiety. The young student named Jennifer was very nervous. Her hands were shaking. Mac gave her a calming look and whispered, "Stay calm, doctor. I'm fine." Jennifer relaxed and successfully completed her examination. The second group was more experienced. They were Dr. Watson's 4th-year students. Mac showed them more complex symptoms: shortness of breath, pain radiating to the left arm, cold sweating. The students approached professionally and made the correct diagnosis. After his performance, Mac gave them feedback. "You interpreted the EKG correctly, but you should also observe the patient's psychological state. Fear and panic also affect the healing process." The third group was Dr. Kim's students. In this group, there was a very smart but somewhat arrogant student named David. David began questioning Mac's symptoms. "In a real heart attack case, the pain would be more intense," he said. Mac calmly replied, "Doctor, every patient's pain threshold is different. Also, I'm assuming I've taken pain medication right now." David's approach reminded Mac of the arrogant officers in his military training. Those types of people would be the first to make mistakes in dangerous situations. The fourth group was led by Dr. Richard Kemp. Mac had seen this man before, but had never directly interacted with him. At first glance, Kemp looked like a normal doctor member's white coat, stethoscope, serious demeanor. But Mac's trained eyes noticed details. Kemp's hands were too smooth, too clean for a doctor who performed surgery. His shoes were expensive. His watch was a Rolex. Too luxurious a lifestyle for an academic doctor's income. More importantly, the questions Kemp asked students were strange. How do you act when a patient is unconscious? What kind of interventions can you perform when no one is watching? How do processes change if the patient has no family? Mac's instincts from Afghanistan went on high alert. These weren't normal medical education questions. Kemp was hiding something. When the examination ended, Mac switched to his recovered patient role and stood up. While other students left the room, Dr. Kemp stayed behind. As he gathered his papers, a small syringe fell from inside his coat. Mac quickly grabbed the syringe and examined it. The liquid inside looked like normal saline but smelled different, sweet and chemical. Mac pocketed the syringe. Years of experience told him something wasn't right. That evening, Mac returned to his small apartment in Arlington. Old Navy photos and medals hung on the walls. The most precious was his SEAL Trident badge. Mac took a beer from the refrigerator and began thinking about Dr. Kemp. He called his old CIA buddy, Danny Morrison. Danny now worked for a private security company in Washington. "Danny, can you do me a favor? Research the background of someone named Dr. Richard Kemp at Johns Hopkins. Something feels off." "Sure, Mac. I'll tell you what I find tomorrow morning." Mac woke up early the next morning. He did his usual routine: 5 kilometers run, shower, breakfast. At 8 a.m., his phone rang. "Mac, this guy's background is very strange," Danny said. "Dr. Richard Kemp has worked at 3 different hospitals in the past 5 years. Mysterious death cases emerged after he left each hospital. Also, the guy's luxurious lifestyle can't be explained by a doctor's salary. Villa in Dubai, accounts in the Cayman Islands. What else did you find?" Here's the most interesting part. Kemp has connections with international organ transplant organizations. Not official, of course, but there are traces. When Mac hung up the phone, everything began to become clear. But he still needed concrete evidence. In the afternoon, Mac had a job portraying an acute appendicitis case. This time, he would watch Dr. Kemp's group much more carefully. When brought to the room simulating an operating theater, Mac observed every detail. The room had more equipment than normal: monitors, IV sets, and most importantly, a cooler box that wasn't necessary for normal training. Mac lay on the operating table and began mimicking appendicitis pain. Dr. Kemp began teaching students how to apply local anesthesia. "In real surgeries, patients sometimes experience unexpected complications," Kemp said. "In those situations, quick decisions are necessary." When he inserted the needle into Mac's arm, Mac immediately realized this wasn't normal anesthesia. The substance was much stronger, and Mac's consciousness level began dropping rapidly. But years of SERE, survival, evasion, resistance, escape training had given him resistance to various drugs. As Mac began losing consciousness, he heard the other students being sent out of the room. Kemp locked the door, and 2 more people came through a secret door. "This patient's organs are in perfect condition," Kemp said. "The kidneys are A+ quality. We can get them to the Tokyo client tonight." "Check the heart too," said one of his assistants. "The cardiac market is very profitable." "How's the liver?" asked the other. Mac now understood everything. Dr. Kemp was stealing organs from fake patients and selling them on the international market. No one would investigate missing organs in fake patients because they thought they were fake anyway. It was a perfect plan, but Dr. Kemp didn't know Mac's real identity. While Mac pretended to keep his eyes closed, he watched Dr. Kemp's preparations. The man put on sterile gloves, arranged surgical instruments, and began disinfecting Mac's abdomen. "Let's start with the kidneys," Kemp told his assistant. "Then we'll take the heart and liver. We'll package the organs separately and send them to different clients." "Has this guy's identity been checked?" asked one of his assistants. "Dr. Peterson. The standardized patient file shows Marcus Sullivan, a retiree." "No problem," Kemp said. Mac smiled inwardly. If they only read the retiree part of his file, they were in for a big surprise. When Dr. Kemp picked up the scalpel, Mac decided to move. Years of Navy SEAL training kicked in. His eyes suddenly opened, and in one motion he sprang from the operating table. "This is impossible," Kemp shouted. "That drug could knock out an elephant." "Navy SEALs train for resistance to lethal substances," Mac said, twisting Kemp's wrist and making him drop the scalpel. "Who did you think you were fooling?" Dr. Kemp's 2 assistants tried to attack Mac. Peterson approached with a scalpel in hand, the other, Thompson, with a metal instrument. But for Mac this was child's play. When Mac grabbed Peterson by the wrist, the man dropped his scalpel. Then he turned to Thompson and hit him in the head with the surgical lamp. Thompson passed out. As Peterson tried to get up, Mac gave him an uppercut. Peterson crashed into the surgical cabinet and lost consciousness. Dr. Kemp tried to escape, but Mac caught him before he reached the door. After tying Kemp to the operating table, he checked the man's phone. There were horrific images on the phone. Dozens of photos, pictures of fake patients who had been operated on before. Each had their organs removed. Worse yet, Mac recognized some of the people in the photos. These were real fake patients working in real hospitals. WhatsApp messages contained details of an international organ trafficking network. Dr. Yamamoto in Tokyo, Dr. Al-Rashid in Dubai, Dr. Muller in Berlin. Client lists from around the world. When Mac found the most shocking part, he froze. Kemp's organ list also included children's names. Sick children, young actors participating in fake patient programs. Mac couldn't tolerate waiting any longer. He called his old Navy buddy Jake Morrison, who worked for the FBI. "Jake, I found a major organ trafficking operation at Johns Hopkins. You need to come now. I've neutralized 3 people. Mac, what did you say? Organ trafficking. Jake, this is an international network. It stretches from Tokyo to Berlin. And Jake, there are children involved." The silence on the phone lasted long. "I'll be there in 10 minutes, Mac. Don't touch anything." After Mac hung up the phone, he looked at Dr. Kemp. The man had regained consciousness and was staring at Mac. "Who do you think you are?" Kemp shouted. "I'm a professor here. You're just a fake patient." "I'm Marcus Sullivan," Mac said calmly. 20 years Navy SEAL service. I was in Operation Neptune Spear. I was in the Bin Laden operation. And you're a killer who steals organs from children." Kemp's face turned pale. "Bin Laden operation, you." "Yes, SEAL Team 6. And now you're my target." FBI team surrounded the hospital 10 minutes later. When Jake Morrison's team arrived at the secret operating room, they found 9 different organs in Dr. Kemp's cooler box. Files confiscated from his office revealed that he had stolen organs from 37 fake patients in the last 2 years. Mac gave a long statement to the FBI, detailing everything. Dr. Kemp's organ mafia was active, not only in America but also in Tokyo, Dubai, Berlin, and Moscow. Using the fake patient program was a perfect cover plan. "Mac, thanks to this operation we've brought down an international organ mafia," said FBI agent Morrison. "Interpol arrested the connections in other countries. 12 people in Tokyo, 8 in Dubai, 15 in Berlin." "What about the children?" Mac asked. "We found them all. 12 children were in the hospital. Their organs hadn't been taken. If it weren't for you." After Kemp was arrested, Johns Hopkins Medical School honored Mac with a special ceremony. Dean Professor Sandra Williams presented Mac to the hospital board of trustees. "Mr. Sullivan, you not only saved the hospital's security, but the reputation of the entire fake patient program and children's lives," the dean said. "We're giving you the Johns Hopkins Heroism Award." Mac's old Navy buddies were also present at the ceremony. Tom Bradley, Danny Morrison, and even former Commander Admiral Robert Clark attended. "Mac, you continue to be a SEAL even in retirement," said Admiral Clark. "People like you keep the country safe." After the ceremony, other offers began coming to Mac from Johns Hopkins, Harvard Medical School, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic. They all wanted Mac, but Mac decided to stay at Johns Hopkins. "This became my battlefield," he told Dr. Harper. "And warriors don't abandon their battlefield." The following week, Mac returned to work. This time security was much tighter. The hospital had reviewed the entire fake patient program and strengthened the background check system. Mac's first case was acute migraine. The new young doctor, Dr. Ashley Chen, was very excited but also anxious. "Mr. Sullivan, I heard about what happened last week," Chen said after the examination. "How did you realize there was a problem with the doctor?" "Mac, 20 years of being a Navy SEAL teaches you to read people." Dr. Kemp's body language, the questions he asked, his lifestyle, everything was inconsistent. "So what will you do now? Could such situations exist in other hospitals?" Mac looked out the window at the lights of Baltimore City. Ashley, bad people are everywhere. They can wear military uniforms, doctors' coats, police uniforms. What's important is having people everywhere who will stop them when necessary. You're now a recognized hero. How does that feel? Max smiled. I'm not a hero, Ashley. I'm just a retired soldier doing his duty. Real heroes emerge when no one is watching, and I'll always continue to be ready. 3 months later, Mac received a very surprising call from Margaret Williams, another fake patient actor in Baltimore. Marcus, strange things are happening at Mercy Hospital, Margaret said. There's a doctor who only selects certain patients during night shifts. Mac smiled on the other end of the phone. It seemed his work wasn't finished yet. Margaret, let's meet tomorrow, and let's keep this conversation between us. That night, Mac reviewed his old Navy equipment at home: secret surveillance devices, micro cameras, GPS trackers. Maybe retirement wouldn't be as quiet as he thought. As Mac looked at the lights of Baltimore from his window, the old SEAL motto came to mind. The only easy day was yesterday. Tomorrow would be a new day, a new mission, a new battle, and Max Sullivan was ready. But this time, he wouldn't be alone. 3 weeks after the Kemp operation, Mac received an unexpected visitor. Dr. Sarah Bradley, Tom's wife, knocked on his door on a Saturday morning. Mac, can we talk? She said, looking concerned.
Oh,
Of course, Sarah. Come in. Coffee. Mac, I have a proposal for you. After what happened with Kemp, Johns Hopkins wants to create a new security position, medical security consultant. They want you to oversee all standardized patient programs, not just here but at affiliated hospitals. Mac poured coffee and sat across from Sarah. What would that involve? You'd travel to different medical schools, evaluate their fake patient programs, train security personnel, and, well, use your special skills to identify potential threats. You mean become a medical detective? Exactly. Mac, what you did saved lives. But Kemp wasn't the only one. The FBI investigation revealed at least 12 other doctors in similar networks across the country. Mac was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. Sarah, when do I start? 2 months later, Mac was on a plane to Seattle. The University of Washington Medical School had reported suspicious activities in their organ transplant training program. Mac's new job was about to begin. As the plane descended into Seattle, Mac reviewed the files. Dr. Amanda Foster, transplant surgeon, unusually high success rates, and 3 fake patients who had mysteriously disappeared from the program. Mac's phone buzzed. A text from Jake Morrison. Mac, be careful in Seattle. We're tracking unusual organ trafficking activity in the Pacific Northwest. Could be connected. Mac smiled and typed back. Just another day at the office. When Mac arrived at the University of Washington, he was greeted by Dr. Lisa Park, the program director. Mr. Sullivan, we're so grateful you're here. Dr. Foster's methods are unconventional. She insists on using only specific fake patients, and she conducts training sessions late at night. When is the next session? Mac asked. Tonight, 11 p.m. She specifically requested a new fake patient actor, someone she hasn't worked with before. Perfect, Mac said. I'll be her new patient. That evening, Mac prepared for what might be his most dangerous assignment yet. As he put on the hospital gown, he remembered his SEAL training: adapt, improvise, overcome. Dr. Amanda Foster entered the training room at exactly 11 p.m. She was younger than Kemp, maybe 35, with cold blue eyes and surgical precision in every movement. You must be our new standardized patient, she said. I'm Dr. Foster. Tonight we're practicing kidney transplant procedures. Mac lay on the operating table, watching Dr. Foster's every move. She prepared the anesthesia with the same careful precision Kemp had used. Dr. Foster, Mac said before she could inject him, I have a question about the procedure. What is it? How many kidney transplants have you actually performed? Her hand paused. Why do you ask? Because in my research,
The University of Washington has only performed 12 kidney transplants in the past 2 years, but you've trained with over 50 fake patients. Dr. Foster's expression changed completely. Her professional mask slipped, revealing something much darker underneath. "Who are you?" she asked, stepping back from the table. Max sat up slowly. "I'm someone who's very interested in where all those kidneys went." Dr. Foster reached for a surgical instrument, but Mac was faster. In one fluid motion, he disarmed her and had her on the ground. "Dr. Amanda Foster," Mac said, holding her wrist, "you're under citizen's arrest for organ trafficking." As sirens wailed in the distance, Jake Morrison's team was always on standby. Mac looked down at another criminal doctor. "You know what the difference is between you and Dr. Kemp?" Mac asked. "What?" Foster gasped. "He lasted 5 minutes longer than you." 6 months later, Mac had exposed organ trafficking rings in Seattle, Denver, and Miami. His reputation as the medical hunter had spread throughout the healthcare community. Sitting in his Baltimore apartment, Mac reviewed reports from his latest case. The doorbell rang, and he opened it to find Admiral Clark standing there. "Mac, the Navy has a proposition for you." "Admiral, I'm retired." "Not exactly retired. Reassigned." "Mac, what you're doing is national security work. The organ trafficking networks you've exposed have connections to international terrorism. We want to make this official." Mac poured 2 glasses of whiskey. "What are you proposing?" "Special Operations Medical Task Force. You'd lead a team of specialists, doctors, investigators, former special forces. Your mission: eliminate medical terrorism networks worldwide." Mac looked at the medals on his wall, then back at Admiral Clark. "When do we start?" 3 months later, Mac stood in a secure briefing room in Quantico, Virginia. Around the table sat his new team: Dr. Jennifer Martinez, former Army surgeon; Agent Sarah Chen, FBI; Lieutenant Colonel Mike Thompson, Marine Force Recon; and Dr. Ashley Chen, the young doctor from Johns Hopkins who had impressed Mac with her dedication. "Team," Mac said, looking at each member, "our first mission is in Geneva. Intelligence suggests a network of fake medical conferences being used to traffic organs from refugees." Dr. Martinez raised her hand. "What's our cover?" "We're attending the International Medical Ethics Conference. I'll be presenting a paper on standardized patient safety protocols." Agent Chen smiled. "And if things go sideways?" Mac grinned. "Then we remind them that some patients fight back." As the team prepared for their first international mission, Mac reflected on how his life had changed. 2 years ago, he was a simple fake patient actor. Now he was leading a classified task force against global medical terrorism. His phone buzzed with a message from Jake Morrison. "Mac, just arrested Dr. Kemp's supplier in Bangkok. He mentioned something about a big operation in Switzerland. Be careful." Mac typed back, "Always am. SEAL Team Medical is go." That night, as Mac packed for Geneva, he looked at his SEAL trident one more time. The motto came back to him. The only easy day was yesterday. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new enemies, and new opportunities to save lives. Marcus "Max" Sullivan, fake patient turned medical security specialist, turned leader of an elite anti-medical terrorism unit, was ready. After all, someone had to keep the doctors honest.